So big news from the Love Hotel world. I don't even know if you saw this. James followed us on Instagram.
No way, really?
You didn't see that?
No.
Yeah, dude. He followed us. Go look.
Oh God. I don't know. It's not like we don't post anything about the Love Hotel, really. So
No, like
I wonder
very,
if he
very
listens
little.
to the podcast.
Yeah, I'm curious.
There he is.
I was more surprised. He only has 130 something followers.
178 now.
Heyo, moving up in the world. But yeah,
Yeah.
James followed us, and yeah, I don't know if he listens. I'm curious how he got here, but he's here now. And I don't know how
That's
to
all that
feel about
matters.
it.
Bros and shows. I gotta have me my bros and shows. Bros and shows. Bros and shows. I gotta have me my bros and shows.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Bros and Shows. I'm your co-host, Steele Russell, joined as always by the one and only Love Guru Goots. What's up, dude?
Well, our time at the Love Hotel seems to be slowly coming to an end.
That's so sad.
Is it though? Because 8 episodes is perfect. I think that's what it is.
Oh,
you think they're going to get a reunion?
I would love a reunion for this. A one-episode reunion would be great, like a clubhouse reunion.
I doubt they will or did because they probably would have already had to film it. And I'm still waiting for Shannon to have a complete meltdown because I have no idea what's going on.
Dude, I have so many questions. I have
Yeah,
so many
like,
questions about like
maybe it's just
what-
all behind the scenes and she's
It
just like
has
when
to
she gets
be.
the camera, she's just pleasant. I don't know.
yeah, like but you're talking about the issue with her and JKB, right? Like what
Yeah.
happened to set that thing off? I don't know.
Yeah.
Did it happen after filming maybe? Because he went on the rant
It's after the rap
when they
party.
rapped. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the night of the rap party, is when he went on his 2 a.m. rant. So I don't know. I think everybody's kind of watching and trying to figure out where that
Yeah.
happened. Maybe it was just along the way behind the scenes. I don't know.
I think it must have been something like that, but
I mean, we
th-
saw
there's-
how she fucking handled Earl at dinner
Yeah.
that one night. That was weird.
that was
Where she got
bizarre.
mad
So
at
I wonder
him
if
for
there's
not talking.
yeah, maybe there's some behind the scenes issues going on there, but we're also, and this is a much happier note, getting closer and closer to the potential of Earl joining us in OC because that's what I want the most.
I do too for us, but for him, I don't want that. He can't
No,
handle
I don't
that
think
shit,
he can
dude.
handle that. After the conversation he had with Shannon's daughters during all of this, I think it's very apparent to us that he would not be able to handle that.
Could you imagine an onslaught from Tamra? Like he wouldn't.
I
recover.
can, unfortunately.
He
And,
wouldn't recover from that, and she knows that too. So she'd go after him.
mhm.
It's
It would
just
be very sad to watch.
And Heather would be so mean because he's not rich. He's not wealthy. She'd be like,
No.
"Who is this peasant?" She would.
It is
treat
funny
him-
too because I'm just assuming that all of these men are like independently wealthy, and a lot of them are. A lot of them are in pretty good spots in life, and seems like they're traveling and jet setting and all this stuff. But there is like 1 or 2 people that are probably floating around that aren't that.
Earl seems
rich.
very run of the mill, middle America,
Yeah.
which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that, you know. But she's a housewife.
Uh-huh.
There's certain things that you have and don't have, and do and don't do. So I'm very curious. I want him.
I'm not saying
on
I want them to get married. I just want to see him like
I
pop
do
up.
too,
Like,
but I
she's
also
on a date.
it would ruin him. It would
I
ruin
know.
him if he gets flack from people. But let's get into
I'd
this.
ruin him either way. Honestly,
That's a
I
good
could see
point.
Tamara going after Shannon for even being on the Love Hotel, like throwing a
That's
jab
good
here or
point,
there.
too.
Yeah.
I'm sure that'll come up. But we start out with Mitch, Gizelle, and Theo. Mitch and
Fuck is
Theo are
Mitch?
two of the-
Mitch
he's one of the
popped up.
new-
I know, but he popped up in the middle of this episode. I'm like, who the fuck is Mitch?
He was in the last episode.
I
You don't remember him?
but like, he didn't do anything. Yeah, I
He
did not
did
remember him
enough.
at all.
He talked a lot about, again, he's another worldly fella. He
Yeah.
brought up the 3 houses last episode where he wants to have
Yeah.
multiple locations. So
Yeah, he
again,
talked about that again. It seems like that's the only thing that he talks about.
So if I'm ever in a position later in life, where I go on one of these shows when I'm in like my 70s or 80s, in this world, my wife's dead. So I don't really like this game
Yeah.
anymore.
This is awful. Why did you
I
set
don't want
this
to
up
play
this
this
way?
anymore. Because I'm sick and my brain's like, I should have said, I don't even know how else I would set that up. Dev, I'm so sorry. I don't know. What the fuck?
I'm sick and I'm surrounded by death, and there's a
Yeah,
constant
maybe
reminder.
that's why. Jesus Christ. Sorry. That's not fun. I don't want to play this game
So
anymore.
dark.
What
You know
is
what's actually really funny is this just got really dark, but it just reminded me. I was watching Watch What Happens Live. I forget when it was. I think it was last night actually. Andy referred to The Valley as the darkest TV show on television.
It is the darkest TV show on television.
But like having him admit it on Watch What Happens Live is somehow worse than like all of us talking about
well,
it.
acknowledging the fact that you're aiming for it to do that is problematic.
You're
in many
enabling
ways.
this. Yeah.
Yeah, you're allowing this to happen. You're putting an
Oh, God.
abusive husband on TV willingly. So
Yeah.
it's a dark fucking show. Now back to my dark setup. What I was trying to say is that if anybody in the future goes on this type of show, The Love Hotel, all you
Mhm.
have to do apparently is say that you want to travel the world and have multiple houses in multiple countries, and everybody there will be into you. That's what I
Correct.
should have said. Instead, I set up a weird scenario in which my wife's dead and I'm on a dating show in my 60s or 70s. So again, I'm so sorry, Dev.
You started off. If I'm ever lucky enough to be on one of these
I didn't
shows,
say lucky. I said if I find myself on one of these shows, I didn't say lucky. And I did not say lucky. Don't change it because that makes it much worse. Because first of all,
if I
I'm
play
gonna
my
die
cards
way
right,
before she does.
yeah.
Like, everybody knows that. But yeah, you guys thought this would be a silly, goofy, fun show. No, it's
dark.
dark. Welcome to the
Unsettling.
Dark Love Hotel. But back to Mitch, Gizelle, and Theo. I thought Theo had a good line because the last episode he had never dated a black woman before, and
Mhm.
so he did some research. Said, "Did you know that statistically, black women and white men have the lowest divorce rate?"
Great
Gizelle likes
research.
that. I thought it was a
She
great.
definitely
That was
does.
a great line. Great.
I think it's anytime that you can like surprise Gizelle with a comment and it's a good surprise, she loves that. She eats
Yep.
that up.
Yep, it was good. But we get the whole crew together. We got one-on-one dates once again, and we're going out on a boat. So you got Gizelle, she picks Theo, makes sense.
Mhm.
You got Shannon, picks Earl, love that. Ashley picks Ralph,
Mhm.
which if I'm Wale, I'm fucking done. Like I'm done with this shit. Like this is
He is
ridiculous.
though. He is done. Did you see the scenes from next week?
Yeah, kind of done, but if she's gonna say something, he's gonna be like, okay. Like I just don't
Yeah.
get it. But
But like I think it is the name of the game. Like this is what you're supposed to do if you're a
yes
contestant.
and
If you're
no.
Ashley,
Yes and no.
you think that she is like so I'm not blaming her and saying that she's playing games like intentionally to try to mess with each other.
That's exactly what she's doing.
It's funny too because with the two guys, and I'm not coming at Ralph's age, but with those two guys, if you're going to
Ageist.
play games, Ralph is not going to recognize that it's a game. He's just going to move forward. He's just going to ignore it and be like, "Yeah, I didn't even pick up on that." Wale is so in his head at this point, 6 episodes in, probably like 2 weeks down there of going through all of this, and he's had his sights set on Ashley, and she's playing the game, but also I guess willingly putting him through the ringer a little bit. So
Yeah.
it's definitely affecting him. And it is really funny because Wale is so good for reality TV. He needs to be on all the
He
dating
needs to be on
shows.
something.
Something happened. This show brought something out in his personality that I don't think existed before. And it's so funny.
And we need to highlight that and put him on
Yes.
some show where he is recurring because
Yeah.
Wale's phenomenal. But
He
you're
is.
not wrong. His self-respect, his ego, his everything is going to take a huge shot from this show because of what Ralph and Ashley are doing. Because
it's almost
the
like you
original, the stun from the original Ralph move, like 3 episodes ago, still hasn't fully set in.
Oh,
on
it's
him.
still lingering, yeah.
Yeah, and so when if he doesn't end up with Ashley and Ralph does, he's gonna have to go to therapy. Like, I don't think he's gonna be okay.
I think he's also spying on them, if I'm being honest.
Oh, you
So
think?
last week, and this could be nothing. It's just something my dumb brain is focusing on. When he kissed Ashley, he made a little growl noise at the end. and that's what Ralph did.
And
So
Wale did it.
I wonder
Yeah.
if he's like peering through the bushes, watching them, like taking notes, trying to figure out what she likes.
Ooh. That's like some James level
I mean,
shit.
he's not
I feel
doing
weird
anything
saying
else.
that now because I know James is probably listening to this because he follows us now.
James would probably take that as a compliment, to be honest. I think he enjoys being the weirdo.
I don't mind quirky people, but there's also a limit to it. But
Yeah.
let's get to the boat day. Oh, Luann picks Mark. Forgot that one. Funny Mark story. Here's my funny Mark story.
Let's hear the
How
Mark. Did he follow
random
us
is
too on
this shit?
Instagram?
What's up?
Did he follow us on Instagram too?
No. But Dev sent me a video because she was like, I want to check this Mark guy. I want to see what he's all about because he's a handsome fella. So like she digs in a little bit. And she sends me a reel and I open it. I shit you not, like 2 or 3 years ago. And I was doing a lot of like improvements around here. Like a lot of my For You page and all that stuff was like DIY shit in your house. And I remember this older gentleman was redoing a brownstone in New York and picking up the floorboards. And they were like the old ass, like they look like the Jesus nails, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And those were the nails. And he was like, oh, like these are hard to find. And like, I'm refurbishing this whole thing just as a hobby. Like, I don't do this for money or anything. And I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. And I followed him for a while. He kind of like trailed off. That's Mark. She sent me the video and I was like, holy shit, he's that guy. She thought I was fucking with her. She's like, are you serious? I was like, yeah, I swear to God, I saw this dude years ago doing this. Yeah.
So now anytime that you look at something that you like, maybe used one of his ideas from one of his videos in your house, you get to think about Mark.
I get to think about Mark now. Thanks, Mark.
That is
now,
lovely.
he didn't give me any.
He seems like a lovely man.
He clearly has a shit ton of money. The houses he's flipping are ridiculous. And like the way that he does it is all, But I knew who he was.
Brownstones in New York. Yeah, the guy's got money.
Yeah, but I can confirm that because I actually saw him doing this before the show. So interesting.
How about that?
But boat day. Let's get to boat day. I need Earl protected at this point. Okay. What the fuck are you supposed to do on a yacht? You can't unbutton. You can't go buttons down and dance on it. Why?
You're jumping in the ocean in like 10 minutes. Like he's going to take the shirt off. What's the difference?
Shannon's like, call me an asshole. It's like, all right then, asshole. What's your problem? He's having fun. Mark's shirt's buttoned up. Like Mark's has his shirt unbuttoned. What's the problem?
Yeah,
she says, I was raised proper. No, you were raised boring. He's on a yacht. He's enjoying himself. Earl's never been on a yacht before. You can tell. That's fine. Let him have some fun.
Earl's had some problems this season. He's finally in a happy place. He feels like he's in a good spot with you in the, I don't want to call it a relationship, but dating you. It seems like he's having a lot more fun. He's a lot more open. He's just showing you him having a good time. Since when is it a crime to have a good time?
Apparently, if you're dating Shannon.
Yeah.
To the point where she said, can Earl fit in my life acting like this? Acting like what, Shannon? Let's talk about the other dudes that you've had in your life. What do they act like? Maybe this is what you need.
Life.
Yeah, what are you talking about? You want to go down that road, bro? I'm just saying, like, if you're gonna point fingers, I'm not talking about that. I'm just saying how
I didn't mean to.
When
I said you want to go down that road, and then I stopped myself. Stop. I didn't mean to do that. That wasn't my fault. It was
intentional. I know
it was not intentional.
I said it wasn't. I don't think it was. My point being, you can't be with a guy that likes to have fun, Shannon. The other part of it is he's being unapologetically himself. That's the best kind of person because he's not ashamed to show you that he's a little goofy. Yeah, he knows his shirt's unbuttoned. Yeah, he knows he's like got goofy dance moves, and yet he's still doing it. So loosen the fuck up and leave Earl alone. But Luann and Mark, they're vibing. You can tell they even have a nice hot smooch. They're smooching on the boat.
Smooch.
Yeah, well, they're talking about some fancy
We've come
restaurant.
a long way. Come a long way with Mark and Luann. He was afraid to smooch her. He ignored a couple of signs here and there when he should have smooched her. Now he's just going.
Oh, you mean signs like her saying "kiss me, Mark," and he said, "Whoa!"
Yeah. It was a pretty clear sign in my mind. I mean, maybe it didn't translate that well to everybody else, but he missed that one.
Pretty obvious to me, yeah. But they make the most sense to me. out of everybody on this show. Just
I would
from
actually argue that James and Luann make a lot more sense.
There you go, James. You heard it here, bud.
I do. It's so like I'm of the thinking, and I know somebody says it later when we're all kind of just debriefing from all the things that went on. Weirdly enough, it just makes the most sense, even more than Earl and Shannon.
I'm saying, let me frame it this way. Maybe it's like judge a book by its cover kind of deal. If you were walking down the street, I feel like I would see Luann and Mark. That would make more sense to me. So maybe it's just saying from an aesthetics, those two like fit. I'm not saying that James isn't an attractive fella. I'm just saying like Mark has that like New Yorky, older, handsome gentleman, looks worldly. Luann's
we have to see him in like a different outfit though. I can't. He came back.
He didn't change clothes.
He came back a completely different guy vibes wise. I think he got there, and him and I don't remember who the other guy was that first day. That they were pretty much interchangeable.
Yeah. They're the same guy. The
somehow Mark
guy from Puerto Rico
skated through, figured it out. It's like he bought a whole new wardrobe. And now all of a sudden he's just got these like sweater polos and like button ups that are just made out of like crochet. Like he's just
got
sitting
a lot
there
of crocheted things.
Yeah, I think he was crocheting actually while he was waiting to come back.
Probably makes there on the beach behind that rock where he lived until he was invited back.
Yeah, he definitely did.
But I think an important conversation happens on this boat. Because I don't care what Ralph and Ashley are doing. Obviously, they're vibing at some weird sex thing she's trying to figure out.
How to like kiss or something.
Yeah, I don't know. But Earl and Gizelle's conversation is important because this is something that Earl really needs to think about. Because Gizelle's like, how's it going? He goes, I think it's going well. I could see myself with her moving forward. Earl, she's expensive. Like, I've never dated anybody expensive. It's like, and I'm not saying that's a knock on somebody that's expensive. She's used to a certain way of life.
Yes.
Can you provide or are you able to keep up with that way of life? And that's a valid question. Her life in OC is very different than his life in Georgia. So
very
that's like, since we're getting closer to the end, if this is a real thing, it's like, I don't know, Earl. I just don't know if in the real world this works. I don't know.
You think, and I know they're already in Mexico in a resort, but you think there's like a grand prize at the end of this for like the best couple? Like everybody votes.
Ooh, I don't know.
Figure out who it is, and we send you on an all expenses paid vacation to a different villa somewhere in Mexico. That would be cool.
That would make sense that there's some kind of thing like that where it's like, wow, an actual couple. Let's see if they're, or maybe they get like an extra week there.
Yeah.
Or something
with no
like
cameras.
That.
Just hanging out.
Oh, and see if they actually make it. That's actually a good call. I'm curious if we'll get that or not. But we get back to the hotel. Ashley invites Wale to her room because she says he needs reassurance. I'm like, yeah, you think? You think? Because every time you get this just been this back and forth.
Yeah.
You pick somebody else. He gets upset. You tell him why he shouldn't be upset because you're so into him. You guys make up. Things are cool. Then you pick somebody else and we do it all over again.
Yeah.
That's been the Wale route thus far. So he does need reassurance.
Yeah, and the more that I think about it, the less I am inclined to say that Ashley's just playing the game because she could be doing a much better job balancing these two guys.
That's all
it doesn't seem like she is. Yeah. I don't know. It's almost like, I'm not going to say she gets off on Wale being, kind of like at her beck and call or anything like that. But I think she does like that. I think she does like where she has him.
I think so too. And this is not a knock on Ashley, and it is
not
at all. Like, I respect the show, I respect the game, always will respect playing the game the right way. And she's playing the game. She's leaning into the idea, she's leaning into the premise. We fucking love that. So I have no notes on Ashley and what she's doing. Just from a holy shit, this guy is going to need a lot of recovery from this aspect.
Yeah.
It's like, every time that you start going towards Ralph, and if you're really breaking it down, when we talk about the things that she talks about in her confessionals, the things that she talks about with Wale, I think about him meeting my kids. I think about, he lives in Rhode Island. I think about things that actually affect your life. When you talk about Ralph in confessionals, being a bad kisser can also mean you're bad in bed. things like that. She brought up Tennessee once, like, oh, would I move there? Like, no, obviously not going to fucking move to Tennessee with a 68-year-old Ralph. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Wale makes sense. And when she talks about Wale, it makes sense. So it's like, it's not really that hard of a decision if we're actually putting these guys on paper. You just really want to fuck Ralph, and you really want Ralph to be good at it.
Yeah. We could also put on our psychology hat.
Sure.
Maybe what it comes down to is Ashley actually really likes Wale and can see a life with him, and she's afraid of that. She is scared
that's part of
that
it.
she's actually going to find love at the Love Hotel, and she doesn't want to.
I think that's part of it. I think she's surprised with how much he's into Wale. And if I'm the third party watching this whole thing, which we are, there is something between those two. I like them together.
I can see it.
I think they're a handsome couple.
Sure are.
Ash and Wale, they're chatting about life, all this. And again, Ashley thinking about Wale as a partner. That's why I brought it up. But let's get back to the dinner table with James, who has a whole lot of confidence. He's like, Luann loves me. She's just being nice to Mark because she's off gallivanting with Mark once again. Which is interesting also because Mark stole her a little bit. Because James, as soon as Luann gets back to the hotel, like goes and starts talking to her, and she hollers out to Mark, like, hey, where are you going? He's like, going to the bar. You want to come with? And she's like, yep, see you, James. So James is instead of saying like, oh boy, like I hope she comes back.
Better up my game.
Yeah, he says she's already my girlfriend. When I decide I'm into a woman, the middle part of this gets blocked out. But more or less, what he said was, when I decide I'm into a woman, I look at her as my girlfriend. I know I'm weird about labels.
This one's bizarre. Yeah, no, this one's weird.
Thing, right?
No,
like, that's just
it has to be a mutual thing. I believe you actually need some sort of acceptance confirmation from the other party before you can really start doing that.
Consent,
and it doesn't seem like you're getting that. Yeah.
Like just an agreement. I don't know.
Something.
Acknowledgement. Any of those things. You don't get to just say, like, now I look at you as my girlfriend. And to say at the end of that, if she's with Mark, she's not coming back to me. I'm not getting any sloppy seconds. It's like, brother, this is the Love Hotel. You don't get to do that. You don't get to dictate who gets to do what, where, and when. Look over at poor Wale. He's been going through it for 6 weeks or 6 episodes. So
honestly, if Wale had that sort of reaction to Ashley and just said, you know what, she's my girlfriend, I would fear that he had a mental break.
Yes.
And he finally just broke. Ashley just broke him. He snapped, and we got to get him out of here. But when James does it, like, weirdly enough, I feel like Luann could be kind of into that. She could be like, whoa, all right, laugh at it a little bit and then be okay with it. Not, acknowledgement, but okay.
With the girlfriend thing, yes.
Yeah.
With the love factor, no. I think that's where Luann would be like, that's too much. That's way too much. I do think she could think the girlfriend thing's like quirky, like, oh, James, stop. Love is different. You little rascal. But we get back to JKB and the crew, and we get some friends of showing up, which we love to see. You get Cynthia Bailey, which we were both stoked. Love to have her.
2 for 2 on a Sunday night with Cynthia.
Fuck yeah, it was great. I'm so glad Cynthia showed up. Shannon's daughters show up. Cal, who is a friend and stylist of Gizelle, and then Brant, who is one of Ashley's best friends. I like this move. I like that you get to vet it through a best friend. This is fun. I didn't see this coming, so I was stoked about it.
And they could be a little hard on the guys.
Yeah. And we get some 2-on-1 dates. They have to go out with the ladies and their best friends. So this is fun. I thought Earl, Shannon, and their daughters was nice. They're asking all the questions like, hey, what do you see in 10 years? I liked his response. I want to open up some adult daycares for I'm assuming elderly people, and then eventually
I didn't really know what a geriatric daycare was.
I'm assuming it's
this
like
past you. I thought it was like, okay, all right. What are you assuming?
Like, let's say that you have a parent move in with you, like way down the line, right? And you're taking care of them, but you can't afford to have them in an actual facility, but you can afford to at least get them out of the house during the day and drop them off somewhere.
That's what I thought it was. Yeah.
Interact with them. That's what I would guess.
That's what I thought it was. And then I spun it a little bit and I thought maybe it's when older people go and they get to go hang out with children at daycare because they love
I'm
that.
not sending my kid to that daycare. What? It's nothing against old people either. It's like, I don't know who these people are. You're just
I don't
inviting
know. I was
people
just
from an
confused.
assisted living facility to hang out with my baby?
Look, I had a tough time. I kind of did a little double take when Earl said that. I'm like, what is that? What do you mean?
I
What are we
think,
doing?
90% of the time in most
Mhm.
things, the most logical answer is the answer.
Yeah.
I know we live in a
Yeah.
time where people deny fact left and right, but usually the actual facts are the facts. So just something to think about.
I guess I
there.
could have looked it up if I really wanted to.
Well, we don't do that. We speculate until we
No,
talk
it's
to
more
each other,
fun.
and then we figure it out. That's
Very true.
It leads to better answers. But while they're chatting, you got Phil talking to, you got Phil and Theo, and they're talking to Gizelle and Cal. I like Cal. I think Cal gave the best interrogations. I thought he was
He
the most.
did. And it's funny too because like I really loved his interactions with anybody that was
I
like
did
even
too.
remotely close to Gizelle. But again, it is the Gizelle factor where she's not taking it that seriously. She's pretty guarded. So then we're just going to add in somebody else who's going to be also very guarded of Gizelle. It's like, all right, what are we doing?
We're never
Nobody's
gonna
going to get
crack
close
through.
to Gizelle. Yeah.
Nope.
It's a whole like extra layer of protection here.
Yeah, I know. And I'll get to the 2-on-1 dates in a sec. I did like a grid system so I could keep track of everybody. Sick. But in the first interaction with Mark, Luann, James, and Cynthia, we got some shenanigans that I noticed
that was
too
weird.
very quickly before Luann had even said anything. Because you get the first thing with Mitch saying, I want to live in 3 places and just globetrot, which
Once again,
I didn't know what globetrotting really was. Now I do. I thought that was just the basketball team. Now I know. But James is asking a whole line of questioning to Luann and Mitch. Mitch. I wrote Mark. Mark.
I think James misunderstood what was going on. I think he thought that he was Team Luann and Cynthia grilling the other guys. Like, hey, I'm her boyfriend.
Felt like that's fucking weird. Why would you?
I'm her boyfriend. You want to date her? This is my girlfriend over here. I'm going to ask you some questions. He was obviously just trying to knock them off their game and trying to like throw some wrenches in there to like really screw them up in front of Cynthia so that he would look better to everybody else. But you ended up coming away from, and again, Luann weirdly liked it, even though they got into a bit of a spat. But he should be coming out of this looking worse, and he didn't. Like it was a really weird move. It was a really weird move. Like yes, again,
Luann was cool with this. Wait, did I miss that?
Yeah, Luann was very cool with it. She was laughing it off after all of this.
Oh, I didn't see that part. I must have been writing something down. That's weird. That's really weird because like the way that he's hanging on Cynthia is weird. Mm-hmm. Just met her.
Yep.
I didn't like that at all. So I'm glad Luann called that out. She checked him real quick. The line of questioning is that of a father asking the boyfriend of a daughter, "What are your intentions with my daughter?" Like that's the vibe I got. This shouldn't be odd. Okay. She was cool with this. She was very
cool with this. Remember at the end of the episode when they were talking about who's the best couple or what the hell's going on here, and everyone was like, weirdly enough, Luann and James over there, and she was like, "Oh, guys, stop it! I do."
How
love
did I
James,
miss
though.
this?
Yeah, maybe it was scenes from next week that they showed. Maybe it wasn't the end of the episode.
All right, that makes me feel a little better. I'm still very sick, so
yeah, everything started to merge together for me too.
Well, let's get back to JKB and the crew because he checks in with everybody to get the temperature from the friends. Cynthia, Mitch is great. James and Luann have this insane chemistry. And I want to learn more about Mark. I think we all do. Cynthia's a good call. Brant, I think Ashley needs more time with Ralph. Fuck.
Fucking hilarious.
I know. It sucks. Poor Wale.
Wale's confessional. Like, what the fuck are we doing?
Yeah, exactly. You're fucking me up, dude. Like, what's happening right now? Unbelievable. Yeah. Then Cal says Phil is the one. Phil is an interesting character. Shannon's daughters, obviously. Earl to Pearl. We need to get to know him better. So we have a cooking date, which I love. I think cooking dates are great. Break down the walls. Makes people more vulnerable. Silly, fun times. So here's my grid system. And we got Phil and Gizelle and Cal. We got Shannon and Earl and the daughters, and we got Mark and Luann and Cynthia. We'll go one by one. All right. Phil and Gizelle and Cal's the easiest one. It's pretty quick. They're making cake. And we do get some more out of Phil that could be difficult, because he brings up the fact that he used to be controlling and a bad communicator, and that at times he would, the way he said this so nonchalantly was red flaggy for me.
Yeah.
He's like, there'd be times where I'd just be like, I need some me time, so like I'd be gone for like a week. It's like,
it was odd getting it. I know, obviously, you got your grid system over there.
I do.
But doing these scenes side by side was actually really good. Watching it just for like the entertainment value, because on the other side of this, which we'll get to in a second, you had Ralph talking about communication skills and all the research that he did when he was, trying to figure out what was going on with him, try to better understand himself. I actually loved that, and he went about it the right way.
Oh yeah.
You get to Phil. I know what Phil was trying to do. He's saying he's the type of person who's going to get better. He's leaning on the astrology from the other night, because they told him and they told Gizelle he's an Aquarius. He's always striving to be better, and he always will get better. So he's like, hey, I'm going to use that and talk about my communication skills. I've gotten a lot better. This is where I was. And you could take it one of two ways. You could take it like, all right, yeah, you've been working on yourself, but we've only known each other for a week. So you're telling me this is how you were? I don't trust that. That's a red flag, because you're just kind of brushing this off right now. I took it that way too. I'm like, oh, why would you admit this? Like, what are you doing?
Especially given Giselle's history. Not that he knows much about that, but when she was married to Jamal, that didn't go great.
Yeah.
For a lot of these same reasons is why it didn't go very well. So like it's pretty much that relationship reincarnate. Hearing that, she's like, oh fuck. And then Cal hearing that, Cal's like, oh fuck. I agree. He was trying to come from a place of I'm doing better, but instead it came off as this is me. So it was tough. It was a tough look. And definitely it's his first strike. He hasn't had one yet, and he finally did. But Shannon and Earl and the girls, they're making guac. The daughters really like him. One of the main reasons is he is the opposite of all the men that Shannon's dated up until this point.
He's nice.
He's a nice person, seemingly. So yeah, wild. Have you ever eaten crickets?
Yeah, I have. There was actually there was a place called Steve's Bug Off when I was growing up that had crickets inside of a candy or a lollipop.
Oh yeah, I've had one of those. I had a scorpion one once.
Ooh,
and I ate a fried tarantula in Australia.
That's where I would draw the line. I'm okay with crickets, scorpion, sure, maybe. Tarantula, no.
Tarantula, no. It tasted like chicken, like identical to chicken. It was pretty wild. It was on a stick. Yeah, there you go. But they ask Earl, you ever heard of the Real Housewives or seen the Real Housewives? And I thought his answer was good, because obviously if you're in the US, you've heard of it. But no, I've never seen it. And if she was walking by me on the street, I wouldn't turn my head. I would turn my head because she's so attractive. I'm like, nice. But I wouldn't turn my head because she's a housewife. And I was like, that's good. That plays well, because it says he's not gold digging or anything like that. Yep. On the flip side, he has no fucking clue what he's getting into. And I think the daughters are concerned about that. I know Shannon's concerned about that. And that's a valid thing. It's a valid concern.
It's a very valid concern. Not only because we've already seen some rumblings here and there of what your life could be like if you were to date Shannon, because of you're not eating vegetables, or you're not talking up enough, or whatever it might be.
Are you not knowing anything about California? The gall.
Yeah, God, so can we just shut up about California? But yeah, I mean, we're all concerned for sure, because we know
we're all worried.
The extenuating circumstances that come along with dating somebody in the housewife franchise, especially somebody like Shannon, who tends to take a lot of shit from her co-stars. So yeah, I think it's reasonable to be a little weary of this one. Wary.
I agree. Wary. Yeah, you do that every time.
I always
weary means sleepy.
Well, I am sleepy.
If you're weary, you're tired. If you're wiry.
Oh, I could just do it with a Scottish accent, and then nobody can tell me I'm wrong, right?
Yeah, then it'll be either one. Weary.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Yeah, just do that from now on. That's more fun for me too. Let's get to Mark and Lou and Cynthia making paella. Mark trying to show off a little bit, I think. Slices his finger open out of the gate. That's tough. It's pretty tough.
Dude, the way he was cutting that onion, what are you doing? He did bear claw.
Bear clawed the whole thing. Knuckles, bub. Pull the thingies back. What the fuck?
I know what he was trying to do, like the way that he was cutting it. I'm like, you kind of got it. What are you doing with those fingers?
Yeah, you're doing the dice method.
he cut his finger like halfway up too. He didn't even
I know.
cut like the tip of it. So
No.
that means you completely missed and cut all the way halfway up your finger. You could have lost a finger, bud.
It's crazy, especially after that nice gentleman was like, "Hey, new knives, very sharp. Don't fucking cut yourselves." And
I
then
felt so bad for that chef. He's
So
like,
did
"What
I.
are you doing,
he
sir?
was
What
like,
are you
"Whoa,
doing?"
whoa, whoa, whoa." He literally, like, it was like a buildup, like, "Whoa, sir, 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 sir."
Oh my god.
Way to go, dickhead. I wish he said that at
I'm
the end.
still anxious from that.
It was funny because he like did the dice method correctly. You go vertical,
Yep.
and then you go horizontal, and then
Yep.
you chop, and you get the perfect dice.
Mhm.
But he knows that, but not to fucking grip it like a baseball. Like, what are we doing, Mark? God damn it! You fucking flip brownstones. You can't cut a goddamn onion. That's a big strike for me. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That set him back a lot. But
Uh-huh.
Cynthia's line of questioning was solid. Would you get married again? And he was like, I don't know at my age, this and that. Have you ever dated? This is where Mark needs to lie.
Yep.
You just need to lie. I'm
have to.
sorry, because this looks terrible. You ever dated somebody Luann's age? He's like, no. Close. I don't
Close.
math. I don't do math.
I
What?
don't do math.
What the fuck are you talking about? What kind of math? What are we mathing here? You know her age. Have you dated somebody close? You can't do
You're
fraction.
so ambiguous about this. Like younger than me. Yeah.
I'm thinking 20s now. I'm thinking this guy's.
No, it's or he didn't know. He just knew she was younger, and he was always like, "Yeah, don't tell me your age. I don't want to know." Okay, we'll just keep it this way.
He's that guy.
6 years later, he's like, "How old are you?" All right, we're done.
Yeah. Oh, 28. Pfft, see ya.
See ya.
He's got the Leo time limit. 26, you're
Yeah.
out. That's probably what Mark does too. But I thought that was another strike there. And he had an out here because the way he set it up, I thought was correct. He's like, I look for fun. I prefer fun women.
Mm-hmm.
If he'd followed up with Luann seems like an absolute blast. I'm so excited to get to know her. He didn't. He kind of like faded on that and went after James.
Yep.
He's like, well, what? Am I supposed to say I love you like James? Like, don't do that either.
Nope.
Mark, what the
Don't
fuck?
don't
You have
fall
no
into
game.
that trap. Do not fall
Never.
into that trap.
You don't go after the other guy. It's just a shitty look. It's a bad look. It seems insecure. He's got no game, dude. To be that
None at
handsome
all.
at that age and have no fucking game is tough. That's tough.
Look. It's a tough look.
I don't like it. I don't like it. And the other part that's going against him is the fact that Mark is just like every dude that Luann's dated from New York. And that I 100% believe. And I think that he's just that again. And I'm with Cynthia, dude. Something's just missing here. There's just something missing.
There's no chemistry.
There's no spark. There's no spark with Mark.
It just seems like they're already like, all right, yeah, we can go do this. Yeah, all right. There's no excitement.
Yeah,
even
I'm not
with James,
excited.
like he's wacky, but there's some excitement there. It's weird.
That's a good point. I think you're pandering because you know he's going to listen to this, but that is a good point.
Who, James, our buddy? No.
Yeah. Oh, my best friend, James. Let's finish up with Ashley, Ralph, and Brant. And they're talking about the future. Hey, tell me one thing that's, a negative. And he talks about how impatient he is. And then he went on to describe that impatience led to him doing some research about ADHD, dyslexia, and things like that. Turns out he went to a doctor, which I'm thrilled that he followed up with. I didn't self-diagnose. I'm like, thank God.
Thank
There's
God.
way too much of that going on these days. Everyone's a fucking TikTok doctor. Don't get me started. Actually went to a doctor. Turns out some of these things are true. So I have all these books. I would look at the books. Can't read a book because it's like word vomit, alphabet vomit on the page. So I like that he was vulnerable about it. It seemed genuine. Of course, Ashley eats it up. I think he also knows what he's doing a little bit. Ashley eats it up. Brant eats it up. It's nice. But again, I just look, Ralph, Wale, I'm putting them both on paper. Wale makes way more sense to me.
Yeah. Even at the state of, God, the poor guy, he's got to be in such a strange, like spirally state every day now.
I can't.
He's not even getting picked for these. Like when he goes on those dates, he went on one-on-one date with Ashley last week. He was
a big
great.
swing.
But he tried so hard, and you could tell he's like, I got to squeeze like 3 dates into this one date. It's like, I don't know. I think Wale day 1, maybe day 2 would have been great. He's going to be some damaged goods by the end of this. I think
he's in shambles. I don't blame him. I don't blame him. The runaround's crazy, but we get back to the hotel. It's nighttime, And, Wale and Ashley are talking, and she's in a bit of a pickle now because her feelings are growing for both Ralph and Wale. She doesn't know what to do with that. And James is in the bar talking about love again, talking about how Luann making him laugh is what he fell in love with. And then Shannon's like, oh, what do you mean? And then she gives us a timeline, though, which was nice. Because she was like, you've known her for a week. Not even. You've known her for days. It's been days since you met her. So, like, what the fuck? What's going on? And obviously, we know Luann's history. She married the Count after like 6 weeks of dating. She jumps into things quickly. So her friends are worried that she might do that whole thing again.
Yeah.
But the way that James is talking is it's just too much, dude. It's too much. Like,
so much.
And then when he explains what love is, he's like, I can fall in love with a friend very quickly. But with Luann, she's my friend, but I also know that it's more. So I love her as that. I'm like, what are we? I don't know what we're saying now. I don't know where
everybody's
we are.
Going crazy. There's got to be something in the drinks.
It's the Love Hotel effect. I'm telling you, man. We talked about this on The Bachelor and The Bachelorette. There is something interesting about the psychology of these shows when you have people sequestered in a place for an extended period of time with a common goal. Something happens to your psyche. And I want to know, like, I need doctors to break that shit down because it's so fascinating.
It is.
I think this is just James normally, by the way. But
I don't think that he's much different in the real world. I just don't know.
I don't think so either. But Mark thinks that the date made things worse. It did, Mark. It didn't go well.
He's right.
Yeah, you're correct.
He didn't really have a chance. When he came back, he had to like ace every single test to have a shot.
He's had a bunch of
She gave him so many different shots. She's given him so many different opportunities, and he's just coming up short every single time.
I give him a C- in most things.
Yeah.
C-, which is not good enough.
C- is fair.
But we get the whole group back together, and JKB is telling us that we got eliminations again. Just kidding. Psych.
But there's only 3 days left.
But we have 3 days left, so make the most of your time. I didn't think that this show would be on my mind as much as it is.
It's not really on my mind.
Thinking about the Love Hotel as much as I do. I don't care what's on your mind. I'm telling you my experience.
Oh, okay. I mean, I get it. Yeah, it is a fun show. I think that they need to figure out, how everything works. I think that, it's just a little trial run out there, but I think that this could be a good staple, a good off-season little thing that we do when things start to slow down a little bit. We've got like Miami coming back. I think they just announced that Salt Lake is coming back in September. So we've got some downtime here. That's a good time for a Love Hotel show, especially because Ultimate Girls Trip seems to be completely gone.
I agree. And they need to find, they did a good job with Crappy Lake, and they didn't run that back in that style of show, which they could have, but they need to find these in-between shows that can last, like this. I think that there's also enough people in the Bravo world that you could run this back with 4 new people every year.
I agree.
And it'd be entertaining. So I think
you can switch back and forth. You can, throw whoever the fuck you want in there, honestly. Just
throw some dudes in there.
So look at some dudes, some girls, some gays. Let's just throw everybody in there and just see what happens. I think it's a really good recipe.
Yeah, we're in, guys. We're in. So let's get to some questions. From Reckless Rubes 87. Do you think Earl was trying too hard to impress Shannon's daughters with the gifts? I think the gifts were nice.
I think they were genuine. I really do. And we would call it out if we didn't think that. But
I forgot to mention the gifts. Do. I think that's a nice move. I think that shows Shannon that you care about her children. I think that's important when you're going to date somebody with kids, that you highlight the kids because they're an important part of their life. So no, I don't think he was trying too hard.
No, not at all. From Mama to Lil C, why does Wale keep trying with Ashley after getting punked by her? 687,555. Oh God, I can't read. Times. A lot of times. We don't. So like, obviously, what's he gonna do? And it looks like next week, for the scenes from next week, he threatens to go home basically because he can't handle it anymore.
At that point, like, I get it.
Yeah. He's been there for a week. He's been there since day one, right? So
Yeah,
he's there a little
day
over
one
a
guy.
week at this point. So he's having a good time. You know, you get an all expenses paid trip to Mexico. But enough has to be enough at some point. It's coming soon.
And from Mad Walb, how weird was James with Cynthia? Not even from a jealous standpoint, just from a boundary standpoint. Yeah, it was
Bizarre.
fucking bizarre. I don't know why he thought it would be okay to just drape himself all over Cynthia.
So
And
weird.
Cynthia played it cool too, because Cynthia is cool. But like,
Yep.
there's no way she was like sitting there comfortably as this man like interrogates the other dudes hanging out with Luann, and he's just like draped on top of her. Like,
Stop
what the
fucking
fuck?
touching me, man.
Yeah, James, like get it together, bro. I don't know.
Bizarre.
It's weird.
Just
It's
a
weird.
weird dude.
Strange cat. It's a strange cat. But that's all I got. You got anything else?
Nope. All good here.
Well, that's our show. Bro's got to go.